Please be advised, this content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The following account is based on reports from a federal courtroom during the Shawn Diddy Combs trial. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation after months of hushed whispers, leaked legal documents, and intense public pressure. The moment arrived. Shawn Jay-Z Carter entered the federal courtroom. He wasn't arriving as the celebrated entrepreneur or global music icon, but as an individual caught in a maelstrom, compelled to defend himself against grave accusations. Diddy's once unshakable empire was crumbling, with lurid testimonies of alleged freakout gatherings now part of official court records, and Jay-Z found himself drawn into the scandal by association. His name had surfaced in connection with venues he swore he never entered, events he adamantly denied attending, and alleged victims he insisted he'd never encountered. The world held its breath, wondering how he would navigate this unprecedented challenge before the jury, the media, and the culture at large. This is the compelling narrative of Jay-Z's court appearance. The courtroom had just regained a semblance of calm after a morning filled with intricate legal skirmishes. The prosecution was preparing to reintroduce evidence pertaining to Cassie Ventura's statements. Diddy's legal team, a blend of jaded detachment and misplaced confidence, shuffled papers. Then the doors swung open, not with a quiet creak, nor with an announced warning, but with a deliberate, assertive motion. It was the kind of entrance made by someone who knows that long-held truths are about to confront those who have outrun them. Jay-Z walked in, impeccably dressed in a deep navy suit, tailored so sharply it seemed to offer a layer of protection. He avoided eye contact, offered no nods. There was no usual entourage, no Beyoncé, no Rock Nation security detail. Just him, a living legend, stepping into a legal arena that had not expected his presence. Certainly not in this capacity, not on the witness list, and not under oath. A collective gasp swept through the room. Spectators in the gallery instinctively began to rise. A journalist dropped her pen with a clatter. Cassie Ventura, positioned near the prosecution, leaned in to whisper urgently to her attorney. Even the judge registered a slight elevation of her brow. Diddy, turning towards the entrance, stared, his gaze fixed on Jay-Z as if witnessing a long-buried specter return from the past. This development was unplanned, a surprise to both the press and the public. Jay-Z had requested a closed session for his statement, but the court had overruled it, prioritizing transparency. Now he was about to deliver a profound performance, not with lyrics, but with the weight of memory. He ascended to the witness stand, took his oath, and the courtroom, filled with federal prosecutors, entertainment reporters, and attorneys accustomed to negotiating multi-million-dollar deals over brunch, leaned forward listening with an intensity usually reserved for the opening bars of a secret track. His voice, steady and controlled, yet taut with underlying tension, began. "I need to state this unequivocally," he began. "Remaining silent is no longer an option for me." With that single declaration, everything in the room shifted. For when Shawn Carter speaks, not the business magnate, not the celebrated rapper, not the billionaire, but the man beneath the public persona, it transcends mere testimony. It becomes an accounting. Jay-Z wasted no time. His opening strategy was not outright denial, but a potent framing of his perspective. "Yes, I received invitations to Diddy's gatherings. Yes, I was present, but let me be crystal clear. What I personally observed and what I was led to understand were fundamentally different realities." He delivered these words with careful deliberation. His lawyers sat rigidly, while the defense counsel appeared disoriented. Was he an asset to them, or was he turning the tables? The answer would unfold incrementally. Jay-Z then disclosed something entirely unforeseen to the court. "I witnessed the elaborate setups, the restrictive NDAs, the confiscated mobile devices, the secluded back rooms with draped entrances. I never entered those particular spaces. I never affixed my signature to those papers, but I intuited that something was amiss." That confession ripped the courtroom wide open. It wasn't simply an acknowledgement of his presence, but an admission of having been privy to the operational mechanics of the elaborate apparatus Diddy allegedly constructed, an apparatus that Cassie, Dawn, Richard, and others had meticulously detailed. Jay-Z then directly addressed the jury. You see, within this industry, there are standard parties, and then there are these parties. And the ones I attended, the ones I eventually began to withdraw from, had ceased to be mere social events. They were meticulously engineered experiences, designed not for enjoyment, but for dominance, for control. The prosecution then posed the direct question, "Did you ever personally witness any criminal acts?" Jay-Z paused. "No, not directly, but I saw enough to know I should not have been there." He recounted a specific, disturbing event in 2015, a supposed birthday celebration for Christian Combs in Miami, where he stated things became profoundly strange. They had masks, he described, real masks. One man dressed in leather, wearing only high heels, walked past me. People found it humorous. I did not, because I perceived that man to be genuinely afraid. Jay-Z affirmed that he departed abruptly that night, arranging for alternative transport, explaining, "I did not wish my name to be connected to whatever that spectacle was." Then, the prosecution produced the photograph, a blurred yet authenticated image depicting Jay-Z, Diddy, LeBron James, and Beyoncé in a room alongside a man in a latex mask kneeling on a velvet cushion. Jay-Z regarded it in silence. "I witnessed that particular moment," he confirmed. "I was informed it was performance art. I did not laugh. I did not linger." He then fixed his gaze on Diddy. "You exploited people's trust." For the first time, Diddy's jaw visibly slackened. What followed transformed Jay-Z's testimony from mere damage control into a devastating blow. He recounted a private exchange with Diddy in late 2018, just as whispers of ongoing investigations began to circulate within the industry. According to Jay-Z, Diddy contacted him, aiming to get ahead of the curve, advising him to exercise caution regarding who you associate with. Jay-Z stated he directly questioned Diddy, "Did you commit any acts from which there is no return?" And Diddy allegedly responded, "They're simply parties, Jay, just experiences. No one is harmed unless they consent." Jay-Z's voice faltered slightly. "That was our last genuine dialogue." He looked towards the assembled court. "I ceased returning his calls after that." Jay-Z elaborated on his subsequent efforts to distance himself, declining invitations to Revolt events, pulling out of collaborative projects, even instructing Rock Nation representatives to maintain clear separation between our brand and whatever Puff is engaged in. The prosecution then unveiled further evidence, an email exchange from early 2020 between Jay-Z's legal team and an undisclosed party, warning that NDAs from past events could potentially be weaponized against those present, even if they were not directly involved. Jay-Z nodded. "I understood the implication. They intended to wield silence as a protective barrier. I was not prepared to be trapped behind it." He concluded this segment of his testimony with a declaration that generated immediate headlines even before the court recessed. "He was once a brother to me, but now I comprehend his true nature and who I nearly became by remaining in his orbit." A profound silence enveloped the chamber, the repercussions only just beginning to manifest. As Jay-Z leaned forward in the witness chair, hands clasped, his voice gained strength, yet remained undeniably emotional. The courtroom had already been destabilized by the circulating accusations and rumors surrounding the trial. But now, the focus shifted. Jay-Z was not merely a celebrity reluctantly drawn into another scandal. He was a spouse, a parent, and a man safeguarding the edifice he had painstakingly built. "I must address my family," he began, looking directly at the jury, "because when my name is disparaged, theirs is also." The room was hushed. Jurors leaned in intently. Reporters ceased typing. Even Diddy, who had been engrossed in note-taking for much of the morning, looked up. Jay-Z detailed the profound emotional toll the accusations had inflicted upon Beyoncé and their children. Blue Ivy is now old enough to comprehend headlines, he stated. She approached me, inquiring about the term freak off. That is not a subject a father should be forced to explain. He recounted how, following the initial lawsuit naming him, reporters besieged their residence, paparazzi camped outside Blue's school. Headlines blurred the lines between fact and fiction, transforming his life into a chaotic tabloid battleground. He continued, "My wife has supported me through every challenge, but this was different. This was not a matter of business disputes or professional rivalries. This was a metaphorical nuclear detonation impacting our family. And the most agonizing aspect is it was all founded on a fabrication." He then addressed the specific allegation that he and Beyoncé attended the purported Miami freak-off in 2015. Jay-Z retrieved a folder and produced flight records. "On the evening in question, we were in Paris," he stated. "It was our wedding anniversary. We were guests at the Hotel Plaza Athénée. I have provided the hotel receipt, photographic evidence, video timestamps, and corroborating eyewitness accounts. We were not present there." The prosecution reviewed the submitted material. The judge requested the clerk to verify the dates. All information checked out. Jay-Z possessed irrefutable proof, literally. But he did not conclude there. He directly challenged the pervasive culture of sensationalism and unsubstantiated gossip that had allowed these falsehoods to proliferate. "When did we cease demanding concrete proof?" he asked the room. "When did an accusation transform into a conviction?" He underscored that his reputation was not solely his own. It was inextricably linked to his wife's, his children's, and his entire enduring legacy. "I have dedicated decades to constructing something honorable, something that uplifts our community, and in a single headline it is tarnished without a shred of corroborating evidence." While Beyoncé's name was referenced multiple times, Jay-Z was meticulous in his phrasing. He did not rely on her fame or standing. He spoke of her as a mother, a woman blindsided by allegations in which she played no part. "I came here to defend truth," he declared, "and to ensure that no individual, not even a billionaire, escapes responsibility for burying others under a mound of deceit." Jay-Z's composure remained steadfast, yet his voice acquired a sharper edge as he confronted the subsequent major claim. His alleged presence at an infamous Miami party hosted at Gloria and Emilio Estefan's mansion, where he was purportedly seen by multiple witnesses during Diddy's alleged freak-off event. "I wish to be absolutely clear," Jay-Z began. "I have never in my entire life attended a party at Gloria Estefan's residence. Not in Miami, not anywhere." He unfolded several documents, a chronological account of his activities from that week, substantiated by security logs, transportation manifests, and charity event programs. He meticulously guided the court through every hour of the date in question. "On the night of the alleged party, I was in Los Angeles. I was attending a charity dinner hosted by the Shawn Foundation at the Peterson Automotive Museum." He stated, "Here is my speech transcript. Here is the guest list. Here is a photograph with the mayor." The evidence was incontrovertible. The court clerk displayed a screen showing the museum's security log, which precisely recorded Jay-Z's entry and exit times. However, the most impactful aspect was not merely the proof, but his analysis of how these rumors gained traction. Jay-Z criticized the vague wording in lawsuits and the subtle, yet potent, influence of insinuation. "You don't require a lie to be loud," they articulated. "You simply need it to be repeated." He elaborated that his name had become attached to these rumors not due to any direct witness testimony, but because of his historical pattern of attending Diddy's events. "Has it truly come to this? Because I once attended a brunch, I am now deemed complicit in every accusation leveled against this man." He informed the jury that the media narrative had spun wildly out of control. "They printed that I was seen in a place I have never visited, and that single sentence metastasized into dozens of articles, thousands of social media posts, and irreversible demonage." Jay-Z's team submitted a report detailing how numerous news outlets had reiterated the same false claim. "Not one contacted me for comment. Not one attempted to verify. As the judge acknowledged the validity of the submitted records, Jay-Z looked pointedly at the prosecution and stated plainly, "If you intend to drag a man into a trial of this magnitude, you had better possess more than mere gossip and conjecture." The final portion of Jay-Z's testimony took a darker, more surreal turn as he addressed the deluge of conspiracy theories that had engulfed Diddy's downfall. He shook his head, glancing at the jury, and remarked, "I've been called many things throughout my career in this industry, but Illuminati puppet, master manipulator, murderer by association, that's a novel one." He acknowledged the internet frenzy, the TikTok accounts that had published exhaustive analyses connecting him to figures ranging from Harvey Weinstein to R. Kelly to Jeffrey Epstein. "They often say, 'Where there's smoke, there's fire,'" he observed. "But sometimes the smoke is merely artificial fog machines and cleverly edited YouTube videos." Jay-Z specifically confronted outlandish accusations, his alleged involvement in Aaliyah's demise, his supposed orchestration of the deaths of Michael Jackson and Tupac, and claims that he paid individuals to remain silent about Diddy's freakouts. Not a single one of these claims is supported by a solitary piece of evidence, he asserted, yet they continue to be repeated because they generate revenue. He then retrieved a printed Reddit thread featuring thousands of upvotes speculating about his supposed inner circle with Beyoncé and Diddy. He held it aloft. "This is what passes for legitimate journalism now?" Jay-Z explained the tangible harm these theories inflicted. "Members of my family have been followed, business partners have withdrawn their support, and I've even received death threats, all because someone on the internet manufactured connections that do not exist." In an unexpected admission, he conceded that his previous silence might have inadvertently worsened the situation. "I did not speak up sooner because I believed the truth would be self-evident, but perhaps I underestimated the speed with which falsehoods propagate when they are accompanied by slick production values and ominous background music." He concluded his statement with a powerful plea. "I am not requesting your approval. I am requesting your attention, your critical thought, your demand for proof, because if we fail to establish a clear boundary here today, then none of us will be safe from what inevitably follows." Jay-Z settled back. His testimony concluded. In a courtroom where murmurs had escalated into headlines, his voice had just redefined the parameters of the conflict. As Jay-Z concluded his direct testimony and the room settled into a tense quiet, the lead prosecutor rose. His name had been the subject of whispered conversations for days, an aggressive federal litigator renowned for unsettling even the most poised celebrities. He adjusted his eyeglasses and fixed a direct gaze upon Jay-Z, who remained composed but visibly alert. "Mr. Carter," the prosecutor began, "you assert you were never at Gloria Estefan's residence. You have submitted logs, photographs, timestamps. All of that is quite persuasive." Jay-Z nodded slowly. "Because it reflects the truth." However, the prosecutor continued, pacing slightly, "you have, by your own admission, attended events hosted by Diddy in the past. High-profile gatherings, brunches, fundraising galas, award ceremonies." "Yes," Jay-Z responded cautiously. "Public events, industry-specific events, nothing akin to what is being described here." The prosecutor paused, then leaned in. "Did you ever witness anything inappropriate at any of those gatherings?" Jay-Z hesitated. "Not for an extended period, but sufficient for anyone to notice." "No," he finally stated firmly. "I observed celebrities networking, music playing, the customary activities, and you never encountered Cassie Ventura at any of these events, or witnessed any behavior that caused you discomfort?" Jay-Z's jaw tightened. "Cassie was frequently present. She was Diddy's partner, but I never observed her in distress, and I most certainly never witnessed the circumstances she has described in her testimony." The prosecutor shifted his line of questioning. "So, when you now learn of her claims regarding coercion, abuse, and the so-called freak-offs, you are asserting complete ignorance." "I am stating that I did not witness it," Jay-Z replied resolutely, "and had I would not have remained silent." The prosecutor nodded. That is also what Russell Simmons claimed. A collective gasp echoed through the room. Jay-Z blinked, his composed expression momentarily faltering. "Objection!" Jay-Z's attorney barked. The judge sustained the objection, yet the implication lingered in the air. The prosecutor persisted, suggesting that Jay-Z's close association with Diddy provided him access to more than mere music industry influence. He hinted at the possibility that Jay-Z possessed more knowledge than he was disclosing, but without direct evidence, it remained a strategic gambit. The jury observed, some displaying skepticism, others sympathy. Jay-Z's concluding statement before stepping down cut through the tension. "I am not here to defend Diddy. I am here to defend my own name. And if I had been a participant in that world, if I had even harbored a suspicion, I would not be offering testimony. I would be on trial myself." As Jay-Z descended from the witness stand, adjusting his suit jacket, he briefly glanced towards the gallery, where Beyoncé was not physically present, yet her absence resonated in every gaze. He exited through a side door, escorted by security, but the courtroom remained abuzz. Murmurs, headshakes, and gasps filled the air, some expressing utter disbelief, others a sense of vindication. Reporters in the gallery frantically exchanged text messages and notes. Social media was already exploding. Headlines flashed across screens. Jay-Z breaks silence under oath. Jay-Z versus prosecution. Jay-Z defends Beyoncé and family from Diddy allegations. There was no waiting for a formal verdict. The internet had already rendered its own. But within the confines of the courtroom, a more complex drama was unfolding. The jury remained unreadable. Juror 4, a middle-aged African-American woman in a beige pantsuit, steadily scribbled in her notepad. Juror 9, a young man with a military-style haircut, stared fixedly at the empty witness chair long after Jay-Z had departed. And the alternate juror silently gnawed on his pen cap, his eyebrows furrowed in contemplation. One spectator, a former bad boy intern, was observed by the sketch artist wiping tears from her eyes. She later confided to a reporter during recess. "He spoke as though he was unaware, but we saw him at those events. Perhaps he truly didn't see what we did, or perhaps he simply averted his gaze." Cassie Ventura maintained a stoic demeanor at her attorney's table. She displayed no reaction during Jay-Z's testimony, but when his voice cracked while mentioning Blue Ivy, she briefly looked up, not with empathy, but almost with a question. Was he protecting his family, or merely safeguarding himself? Even Diddy, who had remained largely impassive throughout much of the trial, exhibited signs of agitation. He tapped his pen with increased rapidity. His eyes scanned the room. Jay-Z's denials had impacted him as well, not as a betrayal, but as a clear signal. The ship was sinking, and everyone was desperate to find a lifeboat. The judge called for a brief recess, and as the room emptied into the hallway, conflicting voices clashed. Some were unequivocally Team Jay-Z. He provided incontrovertible evidence. He was transparent. What more could possibly be demanded? Others remained unconvinced. He's merely attempting damage control. He's been an integral part of that system forever. And in the midst of these divergent opinions, the truth remained elusive. Nobody truly possessed all the answers, but everyone harbored a strong conviction. Back at Roc Nation headquarters, the mood was tense. Jay-Z's team issued no official statement following his testimony. His attorney, Alex Spiro, offered only a brief comment outside the courthouse. Mr. Carter testified truthfully and with immense courage. We unequivocally stand by his integrity. But the world was not waiting for legal summaries. Within 12 hours, every major news outlet, from TMZ to the New York Times, had meticulously dissected his testimony. Some lauded his transparency, while others denounced it as a calculated act of reputation management. Beyoncé's name trended globally for 36 consecutive hours. Her publicist declined to issue a comment. Fans were sharply divided, some fiercely defending her, others questioning the true depth of the couple's connection to Diddy. Meanwhile, the prosecution was regrouping. Jay-Z had not demolished their case, but he had undeniably complicated it. He had humanized himself, strategically distanced his family, and skillfully redirected the intense media spotlight. Yet in doing so, he inadvertently illuminated another critical issue: the music industry's ingrained pattern of plausible deniability. The district attorney's office released a subtle statement. While Mr. Carter's testimony held significant weight, our investigation remains active and extends beyond any single individual. Translation: this saga is far from over. And then came the unpredictable element: 50 Cent. Never one to remain silent, he posted a photograph of Jay-Z on the stand with the caption, "Nice performance, but we ain't forgot them brunches, my guy." It achieved instant virality. In the subsequent days, other celebrities began to emerge from the shadows. Alicia Keys reposted a quote about truth cutting through silence. Questlove tweeted cryptic emojis. Even Oprah posted a vague story about constructing something new from ashes. Jay-Z's reputation had sustained a blow, but it had not utterly collapsed. His testimony, for better or worse, marked a pivotal moment where silence was no longer a viable option. And in a legal case brimming with astonishing twists, one truth became undeniably clear. The courtroom was not merely putting Diddy on trial. It was scrutinizing an entire epic defined by power, proximity, and protection. Jay-Z had endured his time on the stand, but the true trial, the trial of his enduring legacy, was only just commencing.